Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to Monday's edition of the DC Universe Daily. First of all, I'd like to apologise for the haziness of the lighting today on the DC Universe Daily. It's the sun. It's unfortunately, it's disagreeing a little bit. It's having a fight with my camera. There is nothing I can do about it, so I apologise. And I want to take a moment just to spare a thought for the actor Jeremy Renner and his family. Jeremy is in a critical but stable condition because he was outdoors clearing out snow. Something terrible has happened to Jeremy. Of course, the actor is involved with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's been in many movies and TV shows in his time. And let's hope that Jeremy makes a full recovery. So my thoughts are with Jeremy and his family right now. So on today's DC Universe Daily, I'd like to discuss James Gunn's plans for Batman in the DC Universe. There's no question about it. I feel this will be a lighter toned Batman. There's no question about that. We have a darker version of Batman in the Reeves universe. I don't think he'll be as dark now that he's embracing hope. That was the theme of the Batman movie at the end. He embraces hope instead of being vengeance. And so he may be slightly lighter, but I still think he'll be darker. But I do feel that James Gunn wants to make the DC Universe a family-friendly environment, so he won't be as dark as Batfleck, or even Keaton's Batman, or even Christian Bale's Batman. This is going to be a family-friendly Batman. In fact, the very first live-action Batman, the 1960 series and movie, was very campy and light, but he still worked as Batman. He still felt like Batman. And so it's going to be very interesting how James approaches this version of Batman. But when you look at the Batman in the animated series, The Brave and the Bold, which is my favourite Batman animated series, and when you see him in the Lego Batman movie, although he's very light and funny and fun and very family friendly, there are those Batman themes that come into play, especially shockingly and surprisingly in the Batman Lego movie. The Lego Batman movie actually is a sensational piece of work, but there are tones about his solitude and him not having anyone around him and him trying to live in denial about that. So even though when Batman goes lighter, he can still work absolutely. And that's how I feel we're going to go with Batman in DC Universe, that he's going to be a lot lighter. I am absolutely okay with this. It's very interesting with Batfleck, Ben Affleck's Batman in BVS, he's so dark. So in the Snyder Cut, when you see him embracing faith and, being more positive about things, even though it's a good character evolution, there's something in the back of my mind that says, I'm not really buying this. This is a guy who was literally branding criminals, in the previous movie, and now he's totally gone the other way. So the whole idea was that because of the sacrifice that Superman made at the end of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, this has taught Batman, Bruce Wayne, to embrace faith, to embrace people and, not violence and death. And I understand that, but because he's so dark in BVS, it's really hard to believe that character evolution. That's how I found it as I was watching it. I love the Snyder Cut. It's not a criticism on Batfleck or Ben Affleck or anything like that. But as I was watching it, I did feel, I'm not sold on this. I'm not believing this sudden change of heart. But what you've got with a brand new Batman, which we're going to assume James Gunn is going to give us with a brand new actor, you can give him not a brand new worldview. Batman is Batman. He saw his parents getting murdered as a kid. It's the very reason, the compelling reason that made him become a vigilante, made him become Batman. That thing will always be there. Now, if we do get a James Gunn Batman movie, like his Superman movie, I don't expect it to have the origin there, but maybe it'll flash back to it or it'll refer to it sometime. So a much lighter, family-friendly and kid-friendly version of Batman who can still feel like Batman. I think like most of all the Batman live action movies and media we've had in the past few years give us a very dark, gritty, real world or gothic kind of atmosphere around its movie. I mean, obviously Tim Burton stuff is mostly gothic anyway, and I do love that gothic fantasy element of Tim Burton's Batman and Tim Burton's Batman Returns. It really works. But I think with what James Gunn is attempting to do, I do feel that this could be a much lighter version of the character. And as I say, I'm okay with that. James Gunn has already spoke a few months back actually, about the relationship with Batman and Superman in the new DC universe. So that's going to be an exciting thing. So clearly, I mean, you could even have, after the Superman movie, Batman and Superman public enemies or something like that. You could actually have a proper team-up movie. Instead of it being Batman versus Superman, where they both hate each other and fight each other and they don't really like each other to the very end of the movie, public enemies could be something completely different where they're on the run together, which would be really exciting. Now, James Gunn's Superman film is going to have Superman as an already established hero in his early days. So with that said, we must make the assumption that there's going to be an already established Justice League, probably a mini Justice League, but I still feel it will already be, that the world that James Gunn is building will be already established, and this is what I've always wanted. I spoke about this with the Flash movie after Barry returns and fixes Flashpoint. I said, wouldn't it be cool if he goes back to Earth 1 and there's an already established Hall of Justice and Watchtower and all of that, and that would be really fun for the new timeline of the DCEU. Obviously, we're not going to get that, but obviously Barry will be coming back to something after Flashpoint. Would it be James Gunn's brand new DC Universe? I don't have a clue, but I can't wait for James Gunn to kind of tell us what the plan is, if like next year's movies have any connection to his and Peter Safran's DC Universe. We talk about this every day because it's one of the most, it's the elephant in the room. It's one of the most important elements of what they're planning. So I think because Superman is such a lighter character, a character of hope, when you mix Batman and Superman together, it's all right for Batman not to trust Superman. And there's some really fun and funny ways they've done it in the comics, but especially in animation and even in the Lego Batman movie. I thought there was lots of fun ways where he doesn't trust Superman. So I think with a lighter Batman, Superman and Batman being together and kind of eventually becoming friends or frenemies, or however you want to look at that relationship, it's a very interesting relationship, and it has been ever since the evolution of the character all through the decades. I mean, it's been absolutely fascinating to see that relationship involve, in the history of DC Comics. So I definitely feel that James Gunn will want these characters, Superman and Batman, to be working together, and maybe even, as I say, have a proper, positive, lighter, fun movie where they're together, maybe on the run. Maybe we're going to get a president, Lex Luthor, in this new DC universe, which also would be a lot of fun. Who knows who he's going to cast as Lex as well. I think Lex will be cameoing and ever present in most of the movies as well, rather than him just being a Superman Metropolis character. I think he'll be a big deal within the universe, and Lex Luthor deserves that kind of a treatment, and I certainly hope that's where we're going with that. And so, yeah, because you've got another Batman, right, in the Reeveverse, you can do something a little, it gives you creative license to go lighter with Batman in the DCU. And I certainly wouldn't want to see like two really dark Batmen doing the same thing. That's the problem with the Reeveverse even existing. So if you're going to do this, and because of the way James Gunn works and tells his stories, it makes perfect sense that his Batman will be a hell of a lot lighter. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to learn lots of things in the coming months, maybe even this month. I can't wait to find out more news and information about James Gunn's and Peter Safran's DC Universe version of Batman. Now, for the next 5 minutes, I want to talk about Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. And I just really want to discuss if she's got a future within the new DC Universe. I think there's been some interesting discussions behind the scenes. Things are changing quickly because we were at the stage where Patty Jenkins completed her Wonder Woman 3 script. Then that script was rejected. We really don't know what happened, but it looks like James Gunn said, listen, we're not going to do your movie. You're not going to direct the movie. And that's the end of the story for you. And, you know, she tried to spin it as, well, at this moment in time, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. She's done. Now, Gal Gadot's relationships with Zack Snyder and Patty Jenkins are very, very interesting because Gal was cast by Zack Snyder, but she seems very, very supportive. In the past, I don't know about now, of Patty Jenkins, very supportive of her vision for Wonder Woman 84, because when she promotes Wonder Woman or talks about Wonder Woman, it's all about the BTS and the fun that her and Patty and the other cast members had during Wonder Woman 84. She was a producer on Wonder Woman 84, and I think most of us who love Wonder Woman weren't fans of Wonder Woman 84 and didn't feel this was a way to continue and adapt the character, taking away the shield and the sword simply isn't Wonder Woman. So Gal Gadot is in this really weird situation right now where she's been very good friends with Patty Jenkins. Since the first film, of course, that friendship has bloomed really, really well. But clearly with Patty now gone, where does this leave Gal? Is she upset that they've rejected Patty's Wonder Woman 3, that clearly they would have been working on together and she would have known full well what that script would have entailed? And even on her birthday, or the birthday or whatever it was, I think it was it a Wonder Woman anniversary or Gal's birthday, she said there's lots of exciting things to look forward to with her Wonder Woman. Now, could things have changed since then? Absolutely. I think officially, if she leaves, it will never be sold to you as she's been removed. Basically, James Gunn felt he could come out and say, we're removing Henry Cavill. He had to say that because no one was going to buy that Henry Cavill would ever quit as Superman, because we know how excited the man was. And Hollywood do try and sell some terrible propaganda at times, but there's no way anyone was ever going to believe that Henry Cavill no longer wants to play Superman. So they had no choice but to be absolutely honest about that. I think if Gal does leave as Wonder Woman, and I think at this stage it's highly likely with what I'm being told and what I'm hearing, but I don't know I don't know which way this is going to swing, by the way, but that's what I'm hearing. I believe she will come out and say that she's decided to no longer play Wonder Woman. There's a lot of people talking on the internet like she's already not going to be playing Wonder Woman. Now, James Gunn was accused of, booting Gal Gadot off the Wonder Woman role. He denied it. So even though he's denied it, and he just said, who said that? He didn't start saying, oh, I love Gal, she's amazing. You know how they do and how he does. Well, he didn't say this about Gal Gadot. That's a little clue. So I do feel officially it will be that Gal Gadot will say, I no longer want this role and I've decided to move on from this role. How I would feel about this, obviously she's a tremendously phenomenal Wonder Woman. It's going to be very hard to replace her if that is actually the case. I mean, nearly impossible. She's an amazing Wonder Woman. So I don't think there's no one who can replace her, but I do feel I've said this before on this channel, that she is going to be more difficult to replace than Henry Cavill will be as Superman. That's just my personal opinion. I just think everyone has totally embraced her as Wonder Woman, especially in the first movie. The first movie is one of the best comic book movies and comic book origin movies ever made. It's up there with Superman the movie. It's that good. It is that good. It's perfect. And what a shame they ruined it all by doing Wonder Woman 84 and moving away from that beautifully crafted first movie. And that's a shame. So I feel, yes, that there is a potential here for Gal Gadot quitting as Wonder Woman. Whether that's the case or not, we don't know right now. That's my gut feeling with everything that my sources are telling me right now. But as we know, sources can be mistaken, so hold your horses. But if I was a betting man, I'm not, by the way, I think Gal will come out and say she's going to quit as Wonder Woman. This has been Monday's edition of the DC Universe Daily with me, Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection, and I'll see you in the next video. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.